Part 3 is about the ear. And I know I think I mentioned earlier in the beginning that there was 5 parts. Well, some parts got combined, but this one here is by itself. It's kind of near and dear to my heart because my husband is extremely hard of hearing. Even with his hearing aids, he can't really hear. And I think a lot of it's probably hereditary, but it's very frustrating. And he doesn't seem to hear everything I say. One, because my voice is soft, and two, it's at the higher pitch. And men have a harder time hearing at a harder pitch. But, so here we go. The organs of the hearing are divided into 3 areas, and they thought long and hard. They have the external ear, which is the outside. You have the middle ear, which is the middle part, and they have the inner ear, which is another part that's connected to the brain. So your external has the extends from the outside of the head to the eardrum. And the auricle part is it's just right outside. It's the fleshy parts on the outside of your ear. And what it does is funnel. And this part leads to the eardrum. And another name for the eardrum is the tympanic membrane. And this thin membrane that separates the external and the middle ear. So it's kind of like another line. So you got the outside, and everything on the other side of the tympanic membrane is the middle ear or the inner ear. So usually the tympanic membrane is considered part of the middle ear. And the middle ear is just an air-filled chamber with ossicles. And it's got 3 important parts besides the tympanic membrane. And all 3 of these are attached to the tympanic membrane. You have a malleus, and it's kind of like a hammer, and it's attached to the tympanic membrane. Then the next part is the anvil, and the bone that's connected malleus to the stapes. And then you have the stapes, which is a stirrup, and it's a bone located at the base of an oval window. So they're kind of all connected together, and with the malleus being connected to the tympanic membrane. And the oval window separates the middle and the inner ear. So another part of it is the eustachian or auditory tube. And it opens into the pharynx, and what it does is equalize air pressure between the outside and the middle ear. And then you have the innermost part of the tunnel of the cave, however you want to visualize the ear being. The inner ear just is a set of fluid-filled chambers. So you have your bony labyrinth. It's just tunnels filled with fluid, and you got the cochlea, the vestibule, and the semicircular canals. And your membranes are the inside bony labyrinth and filled with the endolymph, kind of fluids. So your inner ear is endolymph, perilymph, and cochlea. What you need to remember out of this is the cochlea. And it's kind of the snail-shaped structure where hearing takes place. And inside they have different vestibules. They're inside the cochlea. Really don't have to remember them, but they are filled with fluid. And this becomes really important later on when we talk about balance. And it also has a spinal organ, has a pictorial membrane, and hair cells. Hair cells are important, and they're attached to sensory neurons that, when bent, produce an action potential. So this is important for energy. This is important for nerves and things to convert to energy so you can hear the actual sound. Because up until now, it's basically sound waves. And you have a vestibular membrane and the basilar. The big thing is the cochlea. It's made up of all these membranes. And here's kind of a picture of the structure. Here's your cochlea. So the hearing process is relatively simple. You hear a noise in the outer ear, and it goes to the auricle, and the auricle funnels the sound into the ear canal, and then it goes from there to the eardrum, all these vibrations of sound. And then from there, the three bones, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes, amplify the sound even more. And then it goes to the inner ear cochlea, and the fluid hairs have a ripple effect, and where the chemicals do an electrical effect, auditory nerve to the brain, and that's when you say, "Oh, I recognize that sound. It's my favorite tune." And the last slide and this side are more in depth what happens, and it numbers exactly what happens and how it hits the tympanic and goes to the incus and the stapes. Then the last part is about balance. So the static equilibrium associated with the vestibule evaluates the position of the head relatively to gravity. In other words, is my head going to the right, to the left? Am I looking up or am I looking down? And my dog is wanting to play. So anyway, the dynamic equilibrium is associated with a semicircular canal, and it evaluates the direction and rate of the head movement. Do you go side to side, up and down? And this all happens in the inner ear, in the vestibule because of the fluid, and the maculae because it contains the hairs. And sometimes they have otoliths, which just means stones in the ear, or I've heard them also called crystals. And sometimes these crystals, particles, are protein and calcium carbonate, and they're embedded in a gelatinous substance that moves in response to gravity. It's kind of like those snow globes. You shake it, and the snow falls. Gravity. You got these hairs that are embedded, initiate action potential when bent. So these otoliths sometimes become embedded, and that's when you hear about people who have Meniere's disease or have a benign dizziness, vertigo. So if they get embedded, these stones, you get other issues that needed to be corrected. But otherwise, they're just in there and they just help you keep your balance. And here's the structure and the functions. Keep you upright. You can look down. look to the side. So this is a little more in depth about balance. Sense the head movement in any direction. And it talks a little bit more about the gelatinous mass. So, and this becomes important when you talk about disease processes. And also kind of want to mention that the outer ear, you have diseases like cauliflower ear, like boxers get when they've been hit too much and they got too much blood and it became blocked, the capillaries and stuff in the ear. And then you have diseases with the middle ear, especially with the tympanic membrane, ear infections. And then you have the inner ears like Meniere's. A lot of autoimmune diseases affect the ear, but also Meniere's. So thank you.